What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Mommy Confessions. My name is Angel Akita Moore, also known as ThatChickAngel. And today is a very special episode. The three women that are the closest to me in life are here today as my guest. I have my three sisters, but you're only going to see two for right now. The third one will join us eventually. My sisters, Jackie Brown, Daisy Brown, and eventually Melissa Murphy will be on here. I cannot wait for you guys to meet them. But first, let me handle some business. If this is your first time either watching or listening to Mommy Confessions, first of all, thank you. Thank you for coming on over. But what I need you to do, yes, yay, amen. What I need you to do is if you're watching this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, interact with us, leave a comment, subscribe, or follow. And if you're watching this on, or you're listening to this, I should say, on Apple Podcasts or any other place where podcasts are found, please rate and review us because it makes our podcast more discoverable. Mommy Confessions is just a raw, honest conversation, sometimes very hilarious conversation about motherhood and womanhood, because I just want to create a space where we could be completely real about how we feel. So I start off every episode with a confession. I already let my two sisters that are here know they got to have their confession ready. It doesn't have to be deep, or it can be deep. It can be funny. It don't have to be funny. It just has to be honest. So I will do my confession first. My mommy confession is that I have still not finished these braids, and I have a show enough ponytail underneath the head wrap that I have on. I have this patch right there. If you're watching, you can see how my naps and just curled up around my hairline. They just still satin on my head looking a hot mess. But you know what? I'm gonna get it done. When that is, I don't know. I don't braid as fast as the Africans in Kentucky do. So it's just taking me a little bit longer to get it done. So that is my confession on this day, July 1st of Mommy Confessions. Which one of y'all want to go first, Jackie or Daisy?
Doesn't matter. The oldest goes
Okay, I can go
first.
Okay, what's your confession, Jackie?
So my confession is, I'm going to confess about my she shed.
Tell them about your she shed, Jackie.
So I have a she shed that I frequent quite often during the daytime, especially in the morning when everyone is still sleeping. I hit the she shed before everyone wakes up, and this morning, y'all, I didn't get the post, but I had deers in front of the she shed, 3 of them.
You had deers in front of your she shed?
Girl, 3 of them. 3 of them. I was scared to death. Anybody who knows me in my she shed, I'll be in there just.
Thank you, hallucinating.
All kind of things happen in the she shed, I have chronicles in the she shed, conversations with nobody but me in the she shed.
Yes.
So and I listen to the birds in the she sheds. I get word from the Lord in the she shed. I have all kinds of things happening in the she shed. And this morning the deers was at the she shed.
They said, we need the she shed today. We got things on our mind.
Girl, they were trying to come in. I was so scared, y'all. I'm saying, Lord, don't let the deers come. But they got scared of me, of course, and they ran, but I got some great pictures of them. It was awesome because I normally listen to the birds and have my coffee first thing in the morning. I'm out there like at 5:45. I've been in showered and did everything before I hit the she shed. And by 5:45, I'm in the she shed.
Oh, so you've already showered at 5:45?
Girl, eyeliner, earrings on, all that stuff, girl, face gloss.
You don't see Jackie's photo shoot first thing in the morning. You haven't seen that? Full photo shoot.
My sister Jackie is the selfie queen with the filter, with the bunny filter. Just
you better know it.
On the timer at 5:45, so that means I had to at least been up by 4ish to do all of that, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, you ready?
At 5:45, and I'm on my computer working at 6:30. So my counterpartners who's not up that early as me, I'm sending out emails like something ain't working right. And they're like, Jacqueline, we're another time and we ain't started yet, but it's all good. So that's my confession.
That you got a she shed. If y'all don't know about a she shed, you need to get you one. Because it's where you go to shed some of the she that's happening in your life. All right, Daisy, what's your confession?
My confession is, one, I have left Kentucky and I am vacationing. I was willing to risk the coronavirus to get away from my current domain to be able to relax. Part of that confession is also that on vacation, you don't always get dressed. So although you see me like this ain't where I was about 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, it was matted to the side. I was running through the house like, wait a minute, I gotta get dressed. I can't, so my confession was, this is like a 5-minute makeover, but if my family was to tell you the truth, we'll get dressed on vacation. We barely comb our hair. We brush our teeth to be nice to each other, because if not, it's kung fu fighting. Ooh, it'd be bad. Yeah, so that's my confession. 5 minutes ago. Wow, y'all listen. Ooh.
You pulled it together real quick.
I'm gonna say she got pearls and everything on in 5 minutes. What you talking about?
I mean, for real, lie. Honey, I was like, wait a minute, I gotta be over there in 5 minutes. They were like, oh, wait.
Yeah, she sent me a text. She was like, what time? Now, I had already told them. I said, we're going to do it at 3 because we the sister that ain't here was like, I'll be done the latest 3 o'clock. I was like, perfect, 3. Jackie was like, I got something at 4. I was like, all right, we'll keep it as close to an hour. If Jackie has to jump off real quick at the end, that's cool. And then Melissa hits us with, 3:30.
What time did we say? Is what she said. What time did we say?
You said the time. That's what I want to tell her. What time?
It's on time. You can't be late for Melissa, and that's the one who's going to be late, right?
Yes.
Be on time.
Okay, so my sister Jackie was like, Angel, I don't want to do nothing heavy, okay? What y'all need to know about my sisters, first of all, and then I'm going to let them tell you more about themselves, is that I have some of the most emotional sisters. They will allow their emotions to flow out of them like a healthy river. They just like, can tears be shed? Well, I already started 10 minutes ago. I already started. I warmed up the room with my tears.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yep. No doubt about it.
Warmed up the room with my tears. So I, being the baby, they left no more tears for me. So I pretty much. That is what happened. Y'all took off before I can even think about crying. Y'all have already started crying. I'm just like, well, I guess it's not that bad. I guess it's fine. So I was like, I'm not going to go too deep with them on today's mommy confessions, but I do want them to kind of get to know you all in our dynamic. So the first thing I want to do is we'll start off with Jackie. Kind of describe to them who you were as a child or as a younger person before kids versus who you are now. Just describe who you were, like your personality then versus your personality now.
Wait a minute, y'all. So listen. Give me one second. Give me a box of Kleenex because I told her. Give me one second. I've got my nose. I ain't gonna cry. My nose running. Give me a second.
Your nose is running.
Well, I'm back.
She tried not to snot on your camera.
Okay.
So now, this is what's funny. See, now me and Angel had a talk, y'all.
You got to speak up a little bit, Jackie.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, where your light go? I can hear you.
That was my laptop from my work, child. And let me click it back on.
That was your light. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. And so you want me to talk about how my personality was when I was a child before I had kids?
Yes, Jackie. So Jackie became a mom at 18? 17. So Jackie had her 2 kids. So I have a niece and a nephew. Y'all say I have auntie vibes is because I've been an aunt for a long time. My sister has her 2 kids at 17 and 18. So they are now grown adults with their own kids. So Jackie is also, I should probably break this down. Jackie is also a grandmother of 4 beautiful kids. She has 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. And then she is the mother to my niece and nephew, Sade and David. Okay, now, go ahead.
Now, you want me to remember what my personality was.
were you as silly acting and as like you are when we're around you? We know that we gonna get the laughs with Jackie. Jackie is real quick and real talkative. Were you like that as a teenager?
So Daisy, tell what I want to tell her so bad. She shared. But okay, let me you know, Daisy, you remember back on Dixie Highway, I forgot. But let me try to go back, Adrian, remember what kind of person I was as a kid.
Do you not remember, Jackie?
Yes, I'm gonna try. She said, I'm gonna try to remember. Okay, so if I can remember, as a kid, I think I used to lie a lot. I think I remember that.
You used to lie a lot?
Girl, yes, I didn't want to get in trouble. Look at Daisy shaking her head, and she remember. She might remember better than I. I think I didn't like to get in trouble. I remember I used to always want to please mom. So if I disappointed her, it devastated me. I hated to be ignored as a kid. I don't think I had the personality that I have now. I think I did this to kind of mask some of my real feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to keep everybody laughing. Because I think as a kid, I don't really remember being this happy, to be honest. I remember not liking, I just remember being a lie. I used to lie because I didn't want to get in trouble, but I knew when I got in trouble, it didn't feel good getting in trouble. You know what I mean? So I think that I wasn't trying to make nobody happy, girl. I was just trying to stay out of trouble, trying to keep mama happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that way I wouldn't get in trouble. So I don't think I was trying to crack jokes. I mean,
you said like so do you feel like now you're more genuinely happy, or do you feel like you still do the same thing?
I'm still struggling.
You still struggling?
Yeah.
Do you feel she's like, yes, I am.
Oh
yeah. Also to give you all a picture, wow, I mean, in like the perfect world, in this utopia that doesn't exist. Oh, wait a minute, you guys. Where'd she go? She was just there. Melissa was just
Melissa was coming in.
Yeah. So in the perfect world, you know, Jackie would have raised her kids and she would be a free bird, just living her life like with no responsibilities. Jackie is actually raising her two of her grandsons while also caring for her eldest daughter as well. So Jackie doesn't have the life of, I would say, you know, the person who can say, oh, my kids are grown, they doing their own thing. There's still a lot of responsibilities on her plate that concern her being a mom.
For sure. And again, you know, I'm okay with it. You know, like mental disease is real. You know what I'm saying? And I've learned that, you know, growing up to where I'm at. And I'll tell anybody, it's a real topic to deal with. You know, as African Americans and as we growing up, we weren't told about. But now when I look at what my daughter goes through and stuff, and even what I go through, and I've asked mom a lot of times. So, mama, let me ask you something. What you was going through when you was carrying me? I'm not, because I've heard that, you know, the emotional strings that is tied to a woman while they're kind of in their first trimester is what kind of caused some of this. So I said, so tell me, how was you when you was carrying me? And she was like, oh, I was a piece of wreck. I said, well, they'll probably explain something.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, if we take it even further, you think about it, they say that when great grandmother came, we all were there. Like when she was here, she wasn't getting any more eggs. All the eggs were there. So whatever they were before we got here, yeah. So we all got that coming down the line. So yeah, you about right. What was she experiencing?
So Daisy, what were you like compared to who you are now?
I was angry. Like I was an angry teenager. I was a hot, mad mess. I'm like, Jackie, we stayed in trouble only because mama was real strict. And so she didn't want us to go out and do nothing, have no type of social life. Mama didn't care nothing about us having a social life. So you know how other kids had, play dates and stuff like that. Our play date was meeting at the screen window out front, and like, because we couldn't go outside, so we used to talk to our friends through the screen. That's about it. All we had. I worked all the time, so we didn't get to go outside. So I was an angry teenager, very angry. Now, of course, I love to laugh. Laughter is good for the soul. So if we can laugh, I prefer laughing over crying any day. I didn't like myself, much less people. And so now I'm a pastor that got to like people and love people. It's a real big shift from what I was before, because I didn't like myself, much less anybody else. Now I love people and I like to laugh and all the rest of that. But that's not how we started. We start this way.
Just to give you a little bit more of a backdrop on Daisy. Daisy is the mother of 3 children. Some of you all who have followed me on YouTube for a while, you all know Portia, because Portia lived with us for almost a year, helping out with the twins, and as well as Victory, who is helping out me now, working for me, and then she has a son, Josiah. She doesn't have any grandchildren. Hi, Judge. So Daisy is also a pastor and a counselor as well. So that gives you just a little bit of backdrop on like how her journey, because let's go a little bit further in y'all's past. Let me actually, before I do that, let's bring in Melissa. She's here and we'll introduce her.
You want to talk about that past more?
I just want y'all to know that it is a monsoon out here in Florida. So that's why my stuff is spotty. Go ahead, Angel.
Okay, so we welcome to the podcast my sister that is right above me in age, the second youngest, Judge, Your Honor, Melissa Moore Murphy. She is joining us from her chambers.
I'm changing my name to just Melissa.
Look at you with the slight flex in your chambers, in the road.
Because literally I ran off of the bench.
Good. You leave those people there. Leave them where they be.
Well, they were in custody, so they needed to get bond set. So let's talk about Josiah.
You want to be one of those judges that care. Melissa, do you have a confession today? We all did our confessions. Jackie confessed about her she shed. Daisy confessed that she was looking a mess right 5 minutes before this started. I confessed that I had no braid right here. What's your confession?
My confession is we have just lost control at our home. Micah is basically raising us.
Micah is my sister's 7-year-old son.
Last night, I literally looked at my husband and I said, "Where's Micah?" It was 9 p.m. Yes, it was still light outside. And I said, "Well, go call for him so he can come in." He says, "Oh, it's still light. He's got time." I said, "He's 7 and it's 9 p.m. Can you at least go get my child?" And I said, "You know what? It's over. It don't matter."
He's raising.
So that's my confession. So yeah, as a mom, I'm really doing it well.
No judgment here on Mommy Confessions. You have one more question. You'll be in the hot seat for one more question, and then we're going to like go around with all of this.
Okay.
The next question is, describe who you were before having kids versus who you are now, personality wise. Like, who do you feel like you were? Like, personality, is it the exact same, or are there things that you remember about yourself in your 20s? So Melissa became a mom at 20?
22? 22.
Melissa became a mom at 22. Daisy became a mom at 24?
No, I believe it was 20 and then 22.
Okay, Daisy became a mom at 20 and 22. Melissa became a mom at 22. Got it. Go.
Oh, for both of us? Did
No, for
Jackie
you. For you.
Oh, for me?
I've
Oh, you
already
already
answered.
Oh, okay.
We've already answered.
My personality-wise, I'm going to say that, but my sisters are going to disagree. So I just need you all to keep your faces accurate.
Just say what you say.
I am going to say that I am less selfish now that I'm a mom. I think
I agree with that.
Before motherhood, it was all about me. I had every intentions of having a power legal career in DC or New York, and I wasn't gonna have any kids, and it was all about me. I was spoiled. I'm still spoiled, but that was my intent. And then in pops these kids, and now I think I rerouted my life from the time I had kids until I hit 40, where it was all about them. Everything was about them. Mm-hmm. Then I hit 40, and now I'm back to like, it's just a little bit about y'all.
Find the balance.
I'm trying to find balance. It was, I never missed a game. I still don't miss a game, but it was to an extent, like it was intense. Mm-hmm. Me making sure I was never absent from any activity in their lives. It was all about them.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, so I think now, like you said, I've kind of flipped and it's more balanced.
So I should also break down, Melissa has 3 children. She has a 20-year-old, a 14-year-old, no, 15. She's about to be 14. She'll be 15 in September. She'll be 15, and then a 7-year-old. And Melissa is also a grandmother. She has a 1-year-old. She has a 1-year-old grandson by her oldest son.
Yes.
I just now realized I didn't answer the question. The difference between me now versus when before I was a parent. I don't even know, y'all. I'm heavier, that's for sure.
Join us. Join us. Join the rest of us.
I am heavier.
Oh boy.
I feel like that's a hard one. I don't know. I might give myself a little more grace now than what I did before. I think before I held myself to a really high standard of having to do things right the first time around. Mm-hmm. I had a little bit of the Jackie thing of not wanting to disappoint mom. Even though I don't know if mine came out as like I was lying, but I definitely knew how things to make sure there was not a spotlight on the things that I wasn't doing right. That's more so. I'd be like, I'm doing this right though. You see this? You see this?
Don't look over here. Don't look over here.
Well, don't you look back at that? Right. I think that does always come when you are raised by someone who's more strict. You do want to hold the standard. And I think now that I have kids, what'd you say, Jackie?
Jackie said that wasn't called strict.
That wasn't called.
It was called borderline something else.
Was it borderline, or you sure we went across?
Or just there, yeah.
And nowadays, when she would call Melissa, would convict her.
Oh yeah. Listen, now
we've been gone. I told her.
Yeah.
They would have came and got me.
Child Protective Services would have been involved a long time ago.
We definitely grew up in I definitely will say that listen, just like Micah is raising himself, things definitely start to calm down the younger you come in the lineage.
Daisy's frozen.
Yeah, Daisy is frozen several times. Because I even say that about
I'm in a typhoon.
So we gotta expect
this. Okay.
I even say that about Amar, where Amar is not so much raising himself, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to allow him to do that at 13. I'm pretty sure I'm going to tap out at around then.
Yep.
I'll be about 53.
And Melissa didn't go through what me and Daisy went through as far as discipline. No way in the form.
No. It's definitely, it went down between, but I think also between you and Daisy, when I definitely was a rule follower.
Yes.
I'm like,
there's the huge,
there's the difference. You and Daisy did not give a flip about now nothing. I was like, no, Mom,
I ain't doing it. I don't want that life.
Where you want me to be? Nope. The worst thing I got in trouble for is because my boyfriend drove me home from school.
And I remember.
That's what I was getting in trouble on.
Keyword, your boyfriend. You were allowed to have one. I couldn't have a boyfriend. And think about it, she started grounding me after I got pregnant. How you gotta be in the house before you get dark and you're pregnant? You're pregnant now. And she comes out and
trying to keep you from getting more pregnant. She don't want you to get more pregnant. That's what it is.
What the? I'm pregnant.
Remember, this is the same woman that thought you could get pregnant by kissing. So look, she was just.
And we're not going to talk about her vitamin D shot.
Her vitamin D.
Her vitamin D shot.
Oh, they know they've got to see 3-part story of Mom's journey, so they already can. I'm sure they can put, based off of everyone's ages. Jackie's in her 50s. Daisy and women. Daisy, you haven't hit 50 yet.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Daisy and Melissa are in their 40s, and I'm about to be in my 40s as of Friday. But if you were to place us in our mother's life from like the stories that she's told, you can probably get an understanding of where Mom was at mentally when raising us. Okay, like they were with right. So Jackie.
That's why I got she sheds.
That's why she got she sheds. That's why Jackie got she sheds.
And that's why I'm a therapist. I'm trying to figure it out.
Jackie and Daisy are the daughters of Charles. So you all, if y'all can remember that whole story, Melissa.
I don't want to know what the story. I don't think I've watched the whole thing.
It's riveting. Like Mama's younger years, prior to us showing up, prior to you and me, Melissa showing up, is like
I believe it.
Movie worthy. It's like what?
I believe it.
So I can completely doesn't justify any like
abuse.
Yeah, that doesn't justify any abuse that might have happened in parenting, but I can understand how that would have been the result.
Right.
If that makes sense.
For sure.
So yeah, you all can kind of like put that in perspective as far as in how that went. So how you grew up affected how you all parent? Because I feel like we all have had the same goal in parenting. Our approach might have been differently, especially since our knowledge base has got bigger as we got older. Like our lexicon of what we understand, not just intelligently, emotionally, got a lot bigger as we got older. So let's start with Jackie, because you kind of started all over. Like you raised your children fully, probably as a certain person, and now you are raising your grandchildren as a different person.
For sure. Huh. And it's a totally opposite. I'm raising my grandkids totally opposite than the way I raised my kids, of course. And so now I'm finding myself totally like a do-over with my grandkids. The things I didn't do with my children that I totally have regrets for, I'm doing with my grandkids. So whereas though really wasn't affection, because really wasn't taught that much affection growing up, where I didn't give my daughter or my son a lot of hugs. Almost like when people would hug me, I would kind of freeze up because I wasn't used to it. So it was like my ex-in-laws, they were hugging, touchy-feely people. And every time his mother want to hug me, I would be like a brick, like, why is she touching me? Because I'm not used to this affection, because mommy wasn't that type of, she didn't give that because I don't think it ever was given to her. And so she didn't know how to give what was never given to her. And so I remember I called Daisy years ago, like, you remember hugs? And she was like, nope. I was like, okay, I'm good then. You remember that conversation, Daisy?
I do.
I was like, I had to call and ask her, like, is it me? Or, do you remember getting hugs? And she was like, I was like, okay, then I'm not imagining it. And so that was the conversation we had. And so then I knew that that's the reason why it bothered me. And I think a lot of stuff in my childhood, I blacked out. It's only now, here recently, I've been getting flashbacks of stuff that I hadn't even recall. I think I had put them in the back of my, didn't want to remember.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in some things I'm getting these visions like, I don't remember that. Where did that come from? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to say, I see where I failed with my daughter and my son, in far as that affectionate, emotional hug. So with Malachi and Zachariah and any kid I come in contact with, I find like with Malachi, he's very touchy-feely huggy. He loves hugs. He wants to be hugged.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I make sure that I don't give that freeze. I'm not hard as a rock. I'm always hugging him. We watch TikTok. We have time where he lay in my arms and we sit there. So I'm totally raising them totally opposite, because I want to make sure I give them 100% of me, because I've learned, you know, it's like lessons learned. I've learned from, and again, I was young with Sade and Lil Dave, and it was almost like mommy had me taking care of y'all, and I was determined. I was not doing that no more. I don't know, you know, I was like, first person came along, I'm leaving. And so I was raising the kids. So, and I already gave them what I had, and which wasn't that much skill set. So, but now I'm doing so much better with the younger ones.
Mm-hmm. So, Daisy, you don't have grandkids, but you have a gap between your two daughters who are only 2 years apart and who are now both grown. And you have a son who's still in the house, still in high school. Do you notice a difference between how you raised Victory and Portia versus how you've raised Josiah?
Absolutely. And if you let them tell it, Josiah gets everything he wants, and they just, you know, dog me. They didn't get anything if you let them tell it. Oh my God. But I think I was stricter with my daughters, one, because I'm a woman, you know the things that your daughters are going to face. So I was stricter, also afraid in raising Portia and Victory because of
Plus you love Jesus.
all the things that we had. Yeah, and I love Jesus all the way through. Like, so their upbringing was completely different than mine. Like when I got beat back in the day, not spanked, not disciplined. When I got beat back in the day, mama still wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks. Versus when I spanked the girls, it was just like we talked immediately afterwards, because it wasn't to hurt them; it was to change their behavior. Or tell them, hey, this is not how it goes. Now with Josiah is that kid that if you raise your voice at him, he is completely shut down. No matter how many times you threaten, he looking at you like, I'm not here. I'm over it. So my approach had to be completely different with him in order to get him to talk to me. My daughters, they always talk. They told me stuff that I didn't even want to know. With my son, I have to almost play Blue's Clues and I Spy with my little eye to find out what's going on with him. But I think I was so afraid with Portia and Victory because they were girls and being molested throughout life. I just didn't want that for them. So I was on top of them. They say, we didn't even get to stay at the camps. They said that while we were on vacation this time now, they wanted to stay at the YMCA. Yo, they almost 30, talking
they
about
remember
the YMCA
that
camp that they didn't get to stay. And I said, I didn't know them people. And they were like, well, we were going during the day. I said, but nighttime freaks come out. I don't, no.
That's exactly it.
Listen, but it be the little stuff though that we remember. It's just like you remember not getting the dress you wanted for prom. Don't bring up that dress. Why you bring up that dress, Angel?
No, for graduating from high school.
Yeah. We remember the little thing.
We remember.
Do I need to let it go? I can buy me about 10 dresses now.
Yeah,
you can buy more than 10.
Yeah.
More than 10.
Yeah.
So
I can. I'm gonna let it go.
Melissa, we already know how you're raising Micah. Oh, yes.
Because I'm not.
How are you raising? How is that different from how you raised Terrence and Makari?
So in when looking at, I think your original question was looking at how we were raised, how have we changed, and then also, so first I'll say is that with what Daisy said, and I think applies, Angel will never get that benefit unless they have another one. Our girls, bless their hearts, my poor daughter, I am so hard on her, and I try my best not to be, but between the boys and her, I am stricter than strict can be, because I know what she will have to face and what she'll have to deal with. And as a woman, especially as a Black woman, I just want her never to be, and she has a little bit of her father in her. And my husband is very tactful and very mild-mannered, whereas that's not me, nor is that any of us. Mm-hmm. So therefore, when Makari, she seems so mild-mannered, and I'm like, you will not be bold. And I'm like, that's not fair to her, because she has a right to have her personality. So I'm trying to ease up on that. And that is just my own little issues that I have to work through to understand what she needs. But the big thing, which is, as you said, Angel, we remember those things, or those things were important to us. Anybody who knows me growing up from middle school through high school, I was involved in anything I could be in. I went back and looked at my yearbook. I didn't know I was part of the French club, but I was, and I was the president. I didn't know that. I didn't remember that, but I was, all these things I was a part of. Yeah, Jackie, I was part of the
French club. Speak some French now. It is real limited.
French fry.
Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Je m'appelle Melissa. Anyway, so all of these things, you know, chamber singers, I was a part of so much, and my mother was never there. My father was never there for any of those things. So the big changes, that's the reason I was so gung-ho and being at everything my kids did. I was site-based parent. I was classroom parent rep. I was PTA monitor, treasurer. I was anything, and I made sure every principal knew my name. I made sure that every teacher knew my name, even if it was the teachers that my kid didn't have. Everybody gonna know who I am when I walk in that space. One, because I want to make sure you take care of my child, because you never know when I'm gonna pop up. And yes, I did name drop. Yes, I'm a lawyer. Yes, I'm a lawyer. Because I don't want them to fool around with my kids, especially with Terrence, because Terrence was my first kid that I had before I was married, and I didn't want him to be that statistic. Single mom, raising him and that. And I was just like, nah, y'all gonna make sure he gets everything he deserves. Don't play these games. And so with my mom and my dad not being present, they loved me and they wanted to support. But Angel can tell you, by the time we were going through stuff, Mama told us to ride the TARC.
We
get to our activities.
We rode public
transportation.
We did.
Y'all got to be after school. We didn't get to stay after school. What are you talking about, riding TARC? We didn't get.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So she evolved where she didn't let y'all. She let us stay after, but she's like, "Hey, y'all y'all got to do that on your own."
Yeah, because
I want to stay after, and you want to cheerlead. I've got to work. So yes. Melissa, ride the transportation, the TARC, and go pick up Angel from school. And then,
right. And we'll go ride the TARC together to get home.
We'll go ride it together to get home. That was, and so I never wanted my kids, I wanted my kids to always know that they could do whatever they wanted, and we would be there supporting and be in the stands. I'd be the loudest person, and I still am the loudest person cheering them.
Yes.
My daughter, who is not flexible in any way, shape, or form, for a little bit, she had a streak that she wanted to be a cheerleader. I knew she wasn't cheerleader material, but I was like, yes, let's go, Makari. But I was there.
You were there. I think it's funny. Jackie didn't mention it, but the both of you and Daisy, Melissa and Daisy, mentioned being harder on their daughters. And I wonder if that is a reflection of the same concept that mom had in her head of I'm going to be harder on you to protect you from what I feel like is going to be coming at you later down the line. I don't have girls. So, and here's the thing though, what's so funny is me not having daughters, and people are always like, oh, Angel, if you had a girl, because I'm already strict with my boys. I'm like, she would have it so much worse.
She would.
Like, no, you would just melt. I was like, you don't understand. She would have it so much worse for me. And I never even registered that you all do that already. Yeah. But I already knew within myself that I'd be like, yeah, no, she is not about to be out here about
falling out.
She is
no.
Well, so, and this is what I think. I think, Angel, to that point, I think the reality is that one, we will love on them more, meaning we get to do the manicures and pedicures, and we get to go buy their clothes and get hair done. So we'll have all of that attentive stuff, but we also are going to hold them to a standard that we know the world is going to hold them to. But mom said this to me. Mom said to me, and she shared this story, and I will never forget it. Her aunt, which would be our great aunt, her husband lost his job. She wasn't working. And instead of her going to go find a job, her aunt stayed in the house, and they were drinking the water from the potatoes. So they would let the potatoes sit and saturate water. And so everybody in the house, they had kids. And so instead of her husband didn't want to look for another job. She didn't get up and go look for a job. They were over in the house almost starving to death because nobody wanted. And so my mom said she made a decision then that she would never let what a man didn't do to make sure she could take care of her kids. And so that's always what I keep in my head is that, oh, we strong enough that we can do whatever the heck we want to. I mean, we didn't move refrigerators. We didn't move pianos. We can do it. I can handle myself. And so that's pretty much, I have taken that story and that has been my thing. So that's the reason that I'm like, yeah, that's why. Because the bar women, we some piece of works.
Yeah, it's probably unhealthy though, but you know,
it is.
I mean,
it is.
No, it is.
Probably really unhealthy though.
It is the worst. Like I think. So my issue is because I think it definitely affects my relationship with my daughter. Like Angel, Makari will she'll tell Danny stuff, but she won't tell me. And I'm like, what you tell him for? He ain't gonna handle it. So you need to come tell me. But I know she told him because she's like, I don't want to hear mama's mouth. I don't care.
Right. No, it is. I don't know why just now having this revelation being on here with all of y'all and hearing y'all's parenting. I'm like, oh, you know what? That ain't good though. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe
we shouldn't do that.
Maybe we should not do that. Oh man.
Yeah.
Jackie, do you feel like you noticed the difference in how you raised your daughter versus your son, or do you feel like they were on an even plane?
It just really depends on what age we are talking about. Because you know, my story is always going to be different from you girls.
From you ladies.
You know, I'm the oldest, and I do a lot more experimenting than what you girls did. So, you know, so when I raised my kids, you know, I struggled. I was an addict. So when Sade was a young girl, she experienced some things, of course, I wish she never had, as being molested at 4. So of course I blame myself for that. When she was a teenager, I promise, I tried to be a good mom, and I felt like spoiled her a lot because I think it was more trying to make up for the things that I wasn't for her when I was an addict, you know, when she was young. Mind you, she didn't remember, because I remember my biggest fear when I was out there that my kid was going to grow up to hate me. You know, oh my God, because I'm out here in these streets doing these things. And so she'll tell me all the time, I would have never known you was an addict if you never told me, because they don't remember any of that, you know. But I told them but that was God. I always say, you know, God made sure he took it away, whatever. So I think as she grew up, I was just trying to spoil her and gave her, you know, everything, because even though they had no remembrance of what they lacked at that time, I had the remembrance. So I always just gave them, you know, had them in church. I think I raised them, you know, at least I thought, like I always tell Melissa, we can raise them the right way. We can point them in the right direction. We can take them to church, give them the best things. You know, when Sade went to college up there in Lexington, LKU, or whatever the university was.
LCC.
Yeah, that one right there. Yep, that one right there. And her and little Dave had the same setup. I told them, give you $1,200 a month. All you got to do is get good grades. We got you. Get a degree. Started getting high, dropped out, and then mental issues started happening for her. And then it's been like almost an uphill journey and a journey for us for the last over a decade. So I think, like I said, our situation is so much different from yours.
Yes.
For me to try to raise her, you know, we talking about, like I said, ours is different, institutions after institutions. So I never really got a chance to have those encounters.
Right,
you know,
right.
That pedicure moment, because my baby was somewhere else, baby.
Right, right.
And I probably was in the she shed somewhere, talking to the deers and the birds and stuff, you know, trying to cope with what we're going through. Yeah. So that's why I said, girls, my story is different.
It is. To give a little more backstory, we briefly touched on it in Mom's, in me doing the interview with Mom. Jackie, my oldest sister, was an addict for what, 4 years?
Yes.
From how old were you?
Okay, so I started getting high in 80, 89, 91. So I started getting high in 89. So I would have been, what, 20-something. 20-something. You want me to do the math? I ain't good with
No,
math.
20-something is good enough. 20-something.
Yes,
so her
it was
kids,
89 to 92.
Okay, 89 to 92. So her kids were still very young when okay, Jackie was 21. Her kids were still very, very young when she was using. So in that time that she was using, there was a point in time where they had moved to Baltimore. Jackie wasn't around us as much. Like Mama tells the story of, we were praying for her while we were in Kentucky, while she was off in Baltimore. So there is a huge part of her parenting story that we weren't in close proximity with Jackie with. And as she has mentioned, my niece in her late teenage years also had experiences with getting high, as well as dealing with mental health issues. So do you feel like you were able to get any of those things that you wanted to get done, like with your children, as far as in loving on them and having special moments with them, with little Dave? I'm trying to get my questions out to you because I know you have to jump off here in a couple of seconds. So do you feel like you got to do any of that with Dave?
I think I said, again, I would say my story was so much different because my environment was so abusive. Not just with my daughter, I was in an abusive marriage for 28 years. So not just with my daughter, mental health, she was traumatized really bad. She went through a traumatic experience. That's what caused this whole mental issue with her. Then with her brother, I just apologized to them, because I kept them in a place where they should have been taken out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, Jackie. I'm sorry.
I want my internet to go out again.
Right before your meeting. I didn't mean to have you go into your meeting crying. But you know what? I don't know.
Okay. I'm okay.
Go ahead and talk through it.
Anyway, so no, because of it all, I really didn't get the chance to have that relationship. But I have to say this. What we have today, our relationship today, is so great. Mm-hmm. We communicate so much better now. Mm-hmm. We're able to tell each other, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. They tell me all the time, Mom, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. We're so much stronger. They my ride or dies. Yeah. I wouldn't trade them in for the world. They wouldn't trade me in for the world. I wouldn't trade my mother in for the world, because through it all, I wouldn't trade it, because even though I don't have your story, I still love my story. You know what I'm saying? Because
tell the truth, Jackie. Go ahead. Tell it. Sorry, you had to give me your amen. Tell the truth now.
Because I do. Go ahead. And I tell Melissa all the time, because I promise to God, I wouldn't trade my story, because I tell everybody, I don't call myself all that spiritual, but I don't think y'all equipped to handle my story. So that's why God created me for my story.
Girl, I'd still be on crack out here in these
I'm trying to tell you, girl.
There will be no recovery to my story. You hear me? I still be out here. Sure would.
So my thing is, I just believe that God ordained everybody for their story. And even though I cry about my story, because I have regrets, of course, I wish it wasn't. But again, I really believe that it is my story. He set me up. He said, Jackie, you're strong enough for this story. Mm-hmm. And so it's mine. So I just love my story. So, but y'all, guess what, man? I got my glasses on now, but I can't see what time it is. Let me see.
Jackie, jump off. She has to jump off for me, but I definitely plan on. They're saying they love Sister Jackie in the comments. Of course. So what I'm going to make sure I do is, because Jackie's the only one who hasn't had a solo appearance on Mommy Confessions, I'm going to be bringing back Jackie so y'all can get to know her a little bit better, and get to hear some of her story, because she's right. Her story is really different from the rest of ours. We all, me and Melissa's is probably the closest, but even ours splinters
It's
into
different.
a very different direction. So, Jackie, thank you so much for joining me.
We
Thank
love
you,
you,
Jackie.
Sissy.
I love you. Mwah.
We love you.
Love
Have
you
a good
guys.
meeting, babe.
I
All
try not to cry. Look, I'm on the wrong mouse, y'all. I got the work mouse trying to shut y'all down. Let me go here. Look at my home. Bye.
Okay, so now we have just the two sisters that are right above me, Daisy and Melissa. Okay, so in your realizing, well, okay, so Daisy, wait a minute, I'm gonna go back to you real quick. Do you feel as though there's any validity to what your daughters say? Do you feel as though, yeah, I do spoil my son?
She does.
I think because I am older, sometimes you just give up the ghost.
Yes.
Hey, it's just like I'm so glad that he was the last one because he don't require as much as them, and I don't know if I had it to give. Like I'm giving him what he needs, but I probably could do a lot better. And I'm sure there's absolutely a difference in the way I raised Josiah versus the way I raised my daughters. There's absolutely. I think they all are spoiled. There's no way around that. The girls are very spoiled.
Well, they're on vacation and they're grown with y'all.
That's all. I'm like, wait a minute.
They ain't paid for it. I'm gonna tell y'all that now. Ain't portion nor victory paid nothing.
And they grown. Like they don't have to pay for anything. So even when they say, "Well, you give," nope, we bought all of them or got all of them their first vehicle. Like they don't. They all spoiled. It's just spoiled in a different way. So yeah, there is a difference between the way I raised Josiah and them. But he's also a boy.
No.
I know it shouldn't be different, but it is. His disposition is different than the girls too, though. So he's not one like they all do their dirt. Don't nobody not do dirt. Some people like, oh well, no. And when parents be trying to say, well, that one's just perfect. They don't do nothing. You lied. Wait for it. They are teenagers. They go through all kinds. They go through the exact same thing. They just might be better at hiding.
Yes,
that's all it is.
What I
but
said.
Yeah, that might be.
That was me. Don't look at what I did wrong. You don't.
And I was like, I'm going to do it right there while you're looking. There you go. You see it? Yes. Oh, you're going to punch me in my ear, Dale? Oh, guess I probably shouldn't have did it, but I'm going to do it again as soon as you leave.
I'm going to do it one more time. Yes.
It's okay. I can't hear in the ear.
I truly think because for y'all, to give you all, again, some more backstory, Jackie left the house soon after, well, because we also left Baltimore when
we had a little criminal activity that was occurring in our home.
They know they know from mama's story.
Burglary.
Jackie,
human trafficking, all that stuff.
All of that. We left Baltimore right before or right after I turned 6. I was like 5 or 6 when we left. And Jackie did not come with us when we left. So I was not in the house very long with my eldest sister, Jackie. However, I was in the house for enough period of time with Daisy that it was seeing the repercussions of Daisy's actions, I think also very much so steered me clear. I do have youngest child syndrome. I will learn from you all. I don't have to experience it. Like I'm not the one that's like, oh, is the stove hot? I saw y'all say ow, let me see. I'm like, nah, they said ow, so I don't want it. I don't want any of it. So what I was but with that being said, it wasn't like I still wasn't in the knife drawer. I might not have touched the stove, but I was like, what's going over here? What's going over here in this knife drawer? No.
That's such a good analogy. That is so good.
Right.
Yes, that is so
good.
But what was the biggest surprise for you all? Because like as far as in parenting, what has been the biggest surprise? Because obviously, we can all look back or still see like how our mother mothers us, and we have our own conceptions of what it should or shouldn't be like. But what about your own parenting or just being a parent has been the biggest surprise for you? I will say already.
Okay, go ahead,
I'll answer part of it. I don't probably think it as hard as Jackie, just because Jackie had more traumatic experiences. But I do be thinking, what are my children's perspective on how I'm raising them? At one point in time, I think I thought, if I thought I was a good mother, then their perception would be the same as mine, because I'm doing what I think a good mother is to do. However, that doesn't mean that when they turn around and look at it, that they will see it the way I saw it. And I think I might have had that revelation like last year, that I realized, oh, little Marcus might look back at this and think my mother was such a bitch so many times. She just pushed me so hard, and I did not want to do any other things she wanted me to do. But I'm also okay. I am also okay with that. I am okay with playing any part that you decide to put me in the play in your head. I know that you are the casting director of that, and I can't control how you cast me. So I'm glad that I'm not hung up on it, but I didn't realize that until literally last year, that regardless of how I've cast myself in this play in my head of I'm the good mother, like Melissa, we experienced the same thing of mom working so much that she wasn't able to attend or pick up us from a lot of the things that we did, because we were both very active. So I, as a knee-jerk reaction, am at everything. Y'all already know I planned my child's entire graduation culmination. I made sure he didn't switch up schools, because I switched up schools so much, like trying to do the exact reverse, thinking that would any of the things that I might have judged mommy negatively on in parenting, thinking if I make sure I attack those things, then I'm gonna be perfect and my kids are gonna see me as the good, perfect mom. And then I realized recently, I was like, but they might not. God dang it. They might not. So anyways, what has been the thing about motherhood that has surprised you all?
I think I look at the fact that I am very emotionally supportive of my children. Like, I want to know what they're feeling, what they're thinking. I ask questions about my parenting style. Like, okay, am I doing a good job? Or I tell them, I hope I didn't break y'all. They're like, why do you say that? I'm like, because there can be some things that I think I'm doing well that I might not be doing so well. So I hope I didn't mess y'all up. I have those confessions with them of, I think this is the right way to go, but it might not be the right way to go. So I hope, when you get married and he be like, you broke them. I'll be like, did I? Like, I didn't mean to break them. But being very emotionally invested in my kids. I'm like, okay, you need to go to therapy. Why are you doing that? They were like, why are you social working us even on this trip? I'm looking and noticing. I'm like, hey, what's that?
What's going on?
And they're like, Mom.
But when did you get there, Daisy? Because I don't think you were that
you were always there.
Entire time. When did you get there?
As far as what? When did I get to investigating my children?
Yes, when you decided I need to be emotionally invested in them. When did that click over of like, hold on, I need to start asking questions to figure out what?
I think you were always very spiritually invested in them, like, y'all gonna be saved.
Y'all y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna know the Lord.
Like
y'all gonna know this.
But there's a difference between that and the emotional connection. I think
that started probably right around their teenage years, like as they were going into middle school. That I'm like, okay, wait a minute. We had this thing in the house, and I tell any parents, even when I do therapy, where we used to do this thing where quarterly they could have any conversation with me that they needed to, and they wouldn't get in trouble. So they would be able to tell me anything that they had done wrong, anything, as long as they didn't hurt anybody or they didn't hurt themselves, they could tell me and there would be no consequences. And so we started doing that in middle school, and they would come and say, we need to have that conversation. And I would be terrified, like, Lord, what they get ready to tell me? Who they done buried underneath the stairs? But I didn't want it to be where we had secrets and they felt like that they could not tell me stuff that they had gotten into. So right around middle school is when I started saying, hey, you can tell me whatever you need to tell me. I will not punish you. I will not spank you. None of that, as long as you come clean. And from that point, we we went all the way from there, because I remember there were things that I could not tell anybody. Well, if I did tell them, the consequences were so severe, I vowed never to say anything else. I'm like, but I won't tell you now. But I didn't want that same relationship with my kids. So I began to give them space, a safe space, to be able to tell me whatever they needed to tell me. And I had to suck it up, even if I went in the room, and I had to hold on to the fact that I told them that there would be no consequences. And from that point, they began to tell me a lot more and a lot more. And I felt like we connected there. Although at times I was so super spiritual, it was like, if I stay on this course of being super spiritual, they never going to tell me anything.
Yeah.
And I need them to be able to tell me stuff, because I don't want them to get in a situation where they feel like I can't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing too. We in the Black community are so trained to have corporal punishment. Like with every action, there is a reaction. There is a consequence, whether it be good or bad. So knowing that you could parent without using consequences as the tool to parent, because that's we spare the rod, spoil the child. That's our, like, a lot of times the barometer of how to raise a child. So finding out that you can parent without consequences being the thing to guide your children. What about you, Melissa?
Can you see my nose?
I already
see it.
Melissa
I saw it when I was talking. Go ahead.
I know. I was trying. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna let her go first, so then I can get myself together. Been trying to squeeze my butt cheeks and everything.
Gotta catch it in advance.
What has surprised me about motherhood is, because Angel, you hit on it. Like, no matter, we can think we're doing a good job, but so I'm trying to figure out a good way to say it. At the end of the day, at 18 and maybe even a little bit before, they are their own personal human beings. So I think there's like a quote that says, our children are just pieces of our heart walking on the outside of our body. And as much as we invest in them and put in them and want for them, at the end of the day, it has to be their life, and they have to want it and invest. And so is my surprise. I told my mom all the time, I said, had you told me that these kids could grow up and do whatever the heck they wanted to, that I was not going to be happy about, I'd have never had sex. That would have been the birth control. That's what you should have told me. Because I look, as it is not that I am pleased with my kids. I love my kids, and I think they all have their paths, but especially because my kids are at different places. So I have this 20-year-old that is still finding his way. Bless Jesus. And I know.
Thank you for the testimony.
It is, and as I say, it is his story to tell. But as I look at it, all I can say is that God promised me some things about him, so I know it will happen. But when I look at him now, I'm like, well, God,
X-Fire, right?
When is it coming to pass, Lord?
I just saw on it was a meme on Facebook, and it said, hey, God, look, I'm not trying to rush you, and I know you don't have to tell me when my blessings come in, but can I get a tracking number so I can kind of see an estimated delivery?
Right.
And even with my daughter, who's at 15, there's so many things that, like, I want her. I'm like, hey, don't you want to be a part of Beta Club or the drama team or this? Just because those were things that I could see investing in which would make her better. But I will say that I have learned from the oldest, there's just certain things that I won't push her into, no matter how much I think. And I have to get on my husband, because my husband wants her to do like this political stuff, because Makari's a little activist.
Yes, she is.
She is. If we let her loose, she'd be leading all the protests, everything.
Yes, she would.
Makari is ready. And so Danny wants her to go and be a part of like the student senate org and all this other stuff. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. And he keeps trying to push her. And I was like, don't push her, because she doesn't want to do it. And she's only going to do it because you're asking her. And I said, so right now it is trying to make sure that we are investing in the things that, one, as I now have gotten to the point of that when they leave our house, they don't rob, kill, or steal anybody to live their lives. Yes, I want more for them, and I know God will do exceedingly abundantly above all. But
yes, He will.
At the end of the day, I want us to make sure that we've poured into our children enough. They know right from wrong, and that their future, that we are supportive of them. We're shooting arrows, but it is definitely like, I'm like, but I shot the arrow this way, so why is it?
And
Girl,
the wind took it. The wind.
I'm like,
they
why?
didn't move the whole bullseye. They didn't move everything.
I mean,
like,
Terrence was just like, I don't want to be an arrow. I'm a boomerang.
right. I'm gonna come right back and sock you again. You're like, no. Yeah, I find that for me, it's definitely, you touched on it, Melissa, and I want to get Daisy's perspective on it because it might not be the same. I find it very hard for me to figure out the balance between the push of, I don't care that you don't want to do it. You ain't got nothing else to do. Go ahead and do it. I'd rather you do this than to be sitting at home just staring at a tablet. And also encouraging whatever it is that they honestly want to do, especially with little Marcus. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. When he's 18, hopefully he'll tell me. But like, I feel as though we have to force him into activities, because if not, he won't do anything. He's not like me. I wanted to be involved in a bunch of things, but that's how I figured out what I actually wanted to do, where I'm like, you cannot major in sitting on the couch. Like, that's just not a thing. You cannot make money, at least not from right now, from where I see it, sitting on the couch. So trying to find the balance of how much should I push you? Because I don't think mom, to be honest, I don't think mom pushed. Mama wasn't like, get in this club. Push us. Get in this club.
No, mama was just like, you gonna graduate from high school? Because remember when she got a GED, I can't even think that mom pushed us to go to college.
She didn't.
She pushed me. She wanted me to go.
That's because she wanted you out of the house.
Wait a minute. When did she push you to go? After you graduated from high school?
From high school.
High school.
She wanted me to go to Grambling State University.
She was trying to separate Daisy from.
That's what it came down. Daisy Daisy's who wasn't her first husband at the time. Daisy was already booed up with him, and Mama was trying to put some miles in between them. Melissa did the same thing.
Listen.
You tried to put some miles. You just now realize. You're like,
Actually, no. I didn't, because honestly, that is not the school that I would have chosen for my kid.
Right. No, I know that. I know, but you would have chosen a different school, and it would have put even more miles.
Yeah. I wanted him to come out to California.
I was trying to get him out here.
I was trying my best to get him out to California. It's like, hey, go to California. Then you can't go and impregnate her.
Somebody said, I don't know, Angel, if he's into gaming, it's very lucrative. Please believe, Sherry, I want him to get into gaming. I've started getting him the equipment to make him start gaming. I'm just like, the balance is just so hard. Mm-hmm. And also accepting that, I have the privilege of raising all people that are not the same gender as me. So trying to understand, like Daisy already said, she sees the personality difference between her, or demeanor difference between her daughters and her son. I have all sons, and I don't know what part is just their individual personality and what part is just
their boys.
A boy, and not, already emasculating them at a young age, right. But also being like, the twins I ain't really worried about, but I'm like, do you have any drive? Is there any competition in you? Does that come in later? Does that happen once you start getting hair in different areas? Like, when does that happen?
My son is completely competitive. He's completely, whether it's video games or football. Now, Josiah almost, and y'all going to start talking and laughing. I ain't said neither one of y'all. Almost didn't get to play football because I was just like, I didn't want him to get hurt. So he did some other sports.
Bowling.
My sister set my nephew up.
Yes, she did. Yes,
set him up. I don't know what life she was trying to give him, and made him take a bowling as a sport.
Bowling league. And so my husband, was it Danny that had to drop him off to the bowling something? And Danny came and said to me, he said, I don't know what their house is like, and but I don't think that's necessarily Josiah's avenue. He was like,
I told you I was going to start talking. See,
he was like,
he went to one bowling thing, and then we were done with bowling, and now he is.
It wasn't one. It was one season. It was one season.
Maybe two. We did baseball and football. My son has the build of a football player and a baseball player, and he is very, very competitive. But Angel, one of the things that you were talking about as far as the difference between their personality and their drive, like literally, because I think all of my children are completely different. Victory is an absolute activist. She is marketing. She is people. Portia is uniquely her own. She always has been. Like, you can tell by the way she dressed. Oh yeah, dressing however she wanted to, just being herself, and never like, I'm like, that's what she wants to do. I'm not going to fight with that. We're not going to have that conversation. And then Josiah is a very much so a homebody, but very competitive. If I say we get ready to go do something sports related, he's the first one out the house. But if I'm like, you want to go to the store? No, I'm good. And so their personalities are so different, and being able to allow them to be that, because I think I had somebody ask me, how do you allow them to be whoever they are? You just watch.
Yeah.
You point in the direction, because my request for my children is I need one college degree. It's not high school. You just gotta get to high school diploma. Boo. No. One college degree. It can be an underwater basket weaving, but you better bring me one. And so be underwater, braiding it together. But I need a degree. It can be an associate. It can be a bachelor's. And all of my children so far have done that. Victory has an associate's and a bachelor's, and Portia has a bachelor's and get ready to have a master's. And Josiah is talking about what he wants to do. He wants to follow in the footsteps of being a therapist, which black male therapist is almost not a thing. And I told him that if you do that, bruh, but said if you do that, we can write your ticket. I mean, so, but it's a balancing act of watching them, like literally watching them and saying, okay, all right, that's good, but these are the requirements. These are just the base level of requirements that you have to give me. I don't care. It's just like, whatever you do, I don't care if you never use a degree. But what you will get me is one of them. I don't care if you went off the stage and grabbed somebody else's and wiped their name out. You better have me a degree.
You better have me that paper. Give me that paper. Well, you guys, I am not going to hold you all. I just really am grateful that we don't, it's as much as you all can probably feel the love that we each have for each other, it's very rare that the four of us are in one place.
Yes.
And it's even rarer for us to even have a conversation like this. Like, I think because we are just so happy to be able to be around each other, we just kind of want to
we don't go deep. We don't go deep.
Yeah, we're not, it's not like let's delve deep in what makes us tick, why we do the things that we do. So this is actually a very, like, this is a super, super, super special episode because like I said, if it wasn't for Corona, I don't think this would have happened. Schedules would not have matched up. So that's the one small sliver of a blessing, is that COVID slowed some things down. But I did want to be able to share this because, like I said, they are like, no, not already. Why? Where is it going? We got people on here that want to get mentored by you, Daisy. I just want you to know. I'm looking at the comments. They're like, can she mentor me? Daisy does not have the bandwidth to take on. She's mentoring a whole church. I'm so sorry.
Not a nail, nothing.
I was about to say,
and don't even put it out there, because she'll be like, well, wait a minute. Let me
Look, I'm
see.
thinking,
Let me see.
tell them my
what can I
contact
do?
information is.
She's like,
Look, you know me. I'm
see.
like, my contact information is. I'm running a whole counseling center. So
Yep.
yeah,
Not
Yep.
as of
Yeah.
yet. Maybe maybe one
Yeah,
day.
not right now. Not right now.
So we might listen. One day we might do a part 2. Somebody was like, "Can we get a part 2 then at least?" Or some individual stuff. One day we might do a part 2. But yes, again, this is super special to me because, like I said, my sisters are the closest women in my life. And I know I feel blessed that I get to be the baby sister to these 3 women. So I'm so glad that you all got a chance to be able to get to know them a little bit better and see how, even though we were all raised by the same mother,
We're
Right.
all different.
Right.
we
Yes.
all were affected by the things that happened in her life prior to us even being here. We all turned
Right.
out so differently. And then the way we raise our kids is also very differently. The one core thing is we raising them to believe in Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. Amen. And
Amen. Amen.
glory be to
Amen.
God.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much to all 3 of my sisters, Jacqueline Brown,
Absolutely. Welcome.
Daisy Brown, and Melissa Moore Murphy. They are not big on social media, but you can follow Melissa's campaign, her road to being elected judge, because she's been appointed judge at MMM for Judge on Facebook, as well as MMM for Judge on Instagram, and as well as MMMforjudge.com on website. Daisy, you can follow Daisy's and Them's church at, is it RCC Global? I'm making that up. That's my church. My church is LPC.
I was going to say, we're global. It's remnant-churchlex.com. Google Remnant Community Church in Lexington. You'll find us there, along with my Facebook page for the counseling centers, Remnant Counseling Center. .com. You can find all of our information there. But yeah, no, love my sister and everything you're doing, Angel. Absolutely great. We are super protective over all of us.
Thank you. I was waiting for somebody to say it. Go on, say it, Angel.
I was coming.
Say it, Bulldog. Say it.
Look,
let them know.
Super protective over all of us. And so I'm the closest thing to a boy they got. Trust and believe. I wear it well. Don't let Jesus fool you.
Jackie and I talked this morning, and literally we said we go to all of Angel's stuff. We may not be able to stay on, but we'll go on her Instagram Live and Facebook Live. But literally, we are only there for security purposes. We flip through all of y'all's comments. If anybody done said something out the way, we call Angel. Who this?
Who said this?
Yeah.
Listen,
who said this?
My kids are very.
Oh yes, my nieces. Well, this is what's great. This is what I say. The people who are watching now, because I want to.
That's right. They're your angel wings.
Yes. Let me give a shout out to my Patreon, my Angels Wings. They are also like my armor bearers, my security. They are. They be like, Angel, block whoever that is. Block them.
Yes,
we appreciate that.
Yes.
As I told Angel, I was afraid of her being in California by herself. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think she's gonna get hooked on drugs or something. I don't know. I'm just afraid.
Bless the Lord.
Shantae
I think she's seen that episode.
Yeah, Shantae said, trust, we will cut someone. Yeah, they be DMing me. I don't like this person's tone, Angel. And I think something, I'll be like, it's okay. It's so everybody, it's all right.
Yes, I don't come unless I have to, but if I'm coming, you better know I'm coming all the way.
I'm coming.
Yeah, if I'm coming, I'm sorry, Lord.
If you want to join the Angel Wings and join this this gang that I've formed, apparently.
Gang. That's our sign.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Yes, if you would like to join the Angel Wings, it's grown into this just beautiful community of people where we promote self-love and loving on each other. And I am so blessed that I am recipient of that love as well. Check the link in the show notes as well as the description of this video. It is www.patreon.com/ThatChickAngel. Again, if you are listening to this as a podcast, please go ahead and take the time to rate and review us. It will only take you about 2 minutes. It just really helps the growth of this podcast. And if you are watching it, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook, even though I haven't uploaded the recent episodes to Facebook, but I'm going to get on that, please make sure you are subscribed. You're clicking that thumbs up button and you are clicking the notification bell so that you can be notified of all the amazing content that I put up. So again, thank you, sisters. And to those of you all who are watching or listening, I will see you next Thursday on Mommy Confessions. You all be blessed.
Hey, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
That chick angel. That chick angel.